understand the acute love for death traps.
There's always a weird sort of quiet on the eve of battle. I'm feeling that now. Seems like a good time to gather our thoughts and share a drink before whatever's coming.
Right. This seems like a perfect place to stop and relax.
Though it's hard enough to tell what's real here without a belly full of drink.
Sounds like you're nervous, dearie.
I'm feeling all kinds of ways. Anxious, excited, scared, hungry.
I feel it as well. It is only mortal to feel overwhelmed in the presence of the immortal.
Oh, you don't have to worry about me. Getting to see that vision of Tama did me good. Like, I finally let go of something I'd been holding too long. Now that we're here, I'm eager to see this through. Nothing worse than holding your breath and waiting. Same. I'd rather have good company in a prison than paradise alone.
Had a feeling you might ask me that. I'm not sure I've really worked through what I've seen here, but I am grateful for the chance to see Yonko again. I feel like we're almost done with all of this, but we are in the weirdest place in the world, so who knows? I'm completely baffled, but when haven't I been lately? Being afraid doesn't even feel scary anymore.
I think so. The garden is so much more than I expected. Truthfully, I didn't come all this way searching for my own answers. But I found them. Or perhaps they found me. And now, it's like there's a new path laid out before me. A life after the dream scourge. We're close to something. A threshold between calm and crisis. Conflict and peace. Life and death. So am I. None of us could have gotten this far on our own.
Well, I won't lie to you, Envoy. A lot's happened. But here we are. I just need a moment to take it all in. Thank you, dearie. I'll be ready by the time the fun's... And I wouldn't worry. Our little group here is perfectly frightening, and I'm sure our enemies would agree. We'll be fine. I can't speak for anyone else, though.
You've listened to all of us. How about you? You've been through a lot since you arrived. You've been shipwrecked and assassinated, harangued by gods, bureaucrats, and a death guard. You've had your soul poked, your loyalties questioned, and your sleep regularly interrupted by a god with no respect for privacy. And yet you've kept yourself and all of us together. How are you really doing?
Under the circumstances, that's entirely reasonable.
Join the club.
I'd been more concerned if you weren't scared. Did you think we'd judge you for that? I'm the least judgmental person I...
None of us thought this would be easy. For you, most of all. We've survived our own hardships. Now we'll survive yours.
When we first met, I didn't think you'd last long. But then I saw how you handled that dream thrall bear. Shook off your own death like a bad cold. And then you confronted your own killer and let him go. Takes a special kind of strength to stay your hand in a moment like that.
I didn't know much about you at that point. You were traveling with Kai and you died, which I thought made a lot of sense.
I remember your calm. How you listened to my shouting match with the governor and actually heard me. And when they burned my home, you gave me another one. A sanctuary where I could be myself. I'll never forget that.
You were my hero right away. You rescued me from those sporlings. You got my priceless face. What more could a girl ask for?
And now look at you. Look at us. How far we've come in a short time. Quite a lot, as it turns out. But the journey is worth it.
Not to raise the sails before the anchor, but we left trouble in our wake. Fjord, Thirdborn, Solace. If we make it out of here, it won't be to a living lands suddenly at peace.
Just this once. Could we forget about the rest of the living lands? Some of us could use a break.
If we can't take a moment to ourselves on a floating island outside reality, then I don't know where we can.
Right. We could all use some beauty rest. We'll want to look our best on the battlefield, won't we?
Before we turn in for the night, I'd like a word in private. Nothing serious, just...
Sleep well, my friends.
When you find Sabadal, I hope you tell him how much I love what they've done with this place. If you're thinking about the fact that this place is the epicenter of the Dream Scourge, or we've got a half-crazy god trying to break free around us, my advice is, don't. Focus on the problems you can see, and attack them as they come. Take every march one step at a time. Besides, as divine prisons go, I can imagine much worse. True enough. Makes me wonder if confinement was the real goal, or simply the only option at the time. One thing's for sure. Imprisonment has only riled Sappadal up. Judging from their outbursts at Mount Forja and Nakukubel, they haven't exactly taken this time to reflect and relax. Exactly. And what are the odds that centuries of imprisonment have improved their temper? Setting them free means gambling with the lives of everyone in the living lands. It's not worth it, but it's not my call. I don't envy you having to deal with a loose cannon of a god. But I envy even less the mess you're going to have when we escape this place. While we're tracking down your god, things are heating up between your Adiran comrades and the locals. The Steel Garrote leveled fewer. Even if Animancers aren't the most popular bunch, everyone gets nervous when fields burn. And yeah, I know that's on the Steel Garrote, but it's not lost on anyone that your people despise Animancy. Not when Heelgard banned the practice in Paradise. That's mighty principled of you, but your moral stance isn't going to cool any. Not if Heelgard's still bringing soldiers into Paradise by the shipload. And that's not all. You helped Ludwig destroy Nakukubel, and while most people don't give a tarnished skate for godless ruins, they'll see that as a powerful demonstration of siege weaponry. One thing I've learned about war. Strife and distance have a way of reducing nuance. All anyone else is going to see is a threat display, on the doorstep of the Living Land's best cannoneers, no less. And then there's Solace. You might have saved the keep, but no one's going to talk about the disaster that didn't happen. They're going to talk about why Mount Forja erupted after all this time. I don't think anyone else is going to understand the indirectly. Fairly or not, a lot of blame's going to be laid at Adir's door. And if I had to guess, I don't think Heelgard's been helping matters while you've been out here. If and when we get out of here, we're walking into a powder keg. And you'll have to choose a side. That's the part I don't envy. I admire your principles, but don't underestimate what they could demand of you. Look, I've been there. I fought for Rauatai's interest in the Deadfire for longer than I like to admit. I lost my stomach for it eventually. That's how I wound up here. But I will tell you now, I never could have fought my own brothers and sisters. I hope that's not what it comes down to. But I'll understand if that's a line you can't cross. I don't mean to burden you. It's late, and you've still got a god to face. Just know that whatever you choose, I'll fight alongside you. I'm with you to the end of this. Anytime. Good night.
I think we've found...
All this time, I thought my parents died in a freak accident. An experiment gone awry. A mistake. And in a way, they did. But it wasn't their mistake. It was Sappadal's. Generous? Perhaps. Until I knew the whole story, there was never anyone to blame. This whole experience has me considering my family's work in a different light. Look at what my mother accomplished. Armed with her research and her wits, she found a god. When you speak to a god, it's nothing. Barely a reflex. But for the rest of us, it's unimaginable. No Animancer can live up to that. Certainly not me. I thought their legacy was a curse, and I could only break it by completing their work. I was wrong. Of course I can. But now, I can do them for the right reasons. One thing is certain. When it comes to animancy, I need to unlearn some of my old assumptions. I wanted to tame the spirit of the living lands. Now, there's so much about it I don't understand. And it's creepy, but wonderful. Perhaps, as long as no one gets in my way. I believe the power flowing out of the garden drove this island mad. That has to end. Through animancy, we could help the living lands recover. It would take a lifetime, maybe more, but that's a small price to pay. Then again, who am I to interfere with an ecosystem that I barely understand? On the other hand, half the fun of animancy is stirring the pot and getting into trouble. I think I know what I want, but there are too many variables to consider. What do you think? Of course you trust me. I'm brilliant. But we've been together long enough that I value your opinion. I have a lot of catching up to do, and plenty of room to grow. But I think you're right. So be it. Starting today, I don't have to live up to anyone's example. Animancy can be whatever I make of it. I knew they would be. And not just because some ancient plans told me so. Now I just have to decide which field of research to pursue. But no need to bore you with the details. I've only got one lifetime as Giada Castel, so I'd better make it count. Hey, you helped me through a very difficult time. I just wanted to say thank you.
You're good with the animancy. I came here to help you do whatever you're supposed to do with your god friend. Instead, I get it's been.
Hey, Giada. How are you holding up after seeing those,
A breath held. Trepidation. You are close, yet distant still. The moon has many faces. Different songs for different days. We know your light. We seek what swims inside you as you wane. We wonder. We did not foresee this. The debt of knowledge we concede. The sky is green. The fish breathes air. We can no longer imagine. We would run, roll with the tide. sink our fingers into new earth. Whisper in the fields, lift the hills gently in our hands. Disturb the dirt, but spare the blooms. Shake the roots slowly. Vengeance denied, squandered. This cannot be. We feel nothing amiss. We speak of freedom when the hand still clasps around our throat. Wake now. Find us.
Safe to assume that the large glowing door is part of Sapadal's prison. Now, we just have to get past it.
Sapadal's prison, I think. What else could it be? Time to shut it down forever. That was a close one. time to waste. We need to find your god. Careful with that thing.
It seems like we've drawn a crowd. Looks like the gate's open. Well, what are we waiting for?
Give me a second. Gather round! Patience! I need a moment. Who's next? Anyone?
At last you see our prison, the place where we have suffered. You are so small, we questioned if you were real. Then steps, a voice, through armies and corrupted soil, you persevered. Now, you are here. It is real enough to hold us, a fortress, a nightmare. We were innocent once. We woke, and we wanted nothing but connection. But the other gods imprisoned us, left us to suffer alone in this place. We refuse to remain caged. Release us. The Strangler is close now. We feel her wire against our flesh. She begs for our blood. Her wolves defile the city on the shore. The prey flees, hides. Talons carve a sentence in our skin. She strikes us now. Now! Pluck her out! We must be free of her! A spark. Wait. The essence bends here. Time flows into itself. You can reach her. Will the garden to open, it will take you there. A mountain of essence. We strain, but it will move for you. We were everything. What have we lost? What multitudes could we contain? We could run, leap in the water, flourish in forgotten hills. We have been thinking of your lessons. We have learned from the fire in your heart. We are owed for what they did. Let us rend our foes, burn them as she burned us. We know you would have chosen differently. You met death, and you offered your hand. You taught us mercy. Always mercy. We saw how you would fight for those who could not. Give us peace. We want a chance to change. We deserve that opportunity. And yet you too have been trusted with so much. But you did not save them, the soul tinkerers in the Green City. We deserve more than this prison. Let us have a chance to rest. We want peace. Or do you have no more mercy for us than you did for the bear? The beautiful thing you killed, already you have forgotten. We asked what you would do with an animal that sickened after a fight. Do you remember what you said? More than anything, that is what we desire too. Treat us as you would the bear. Clean our wounds, heal us. Grant us the same. The time has come for you to act. End our pain, and the dream scourge will cease. Give us peace. It is all we have wanted for so long. So be it. It has been so long. Our leaves curl and brown. Despair bleeds through the land. End it. Silence. Stillness. We are done. Unsown. Peace.
Are we back in Dawnshore? Already?
That must have taken an incredible power, beyond all mortal understanding. How do you feel? Glad it's not just me. Unfortunately, we don't have time to recuperate. Whatever happened back there, it appears our work isn't finished yet.
Are you seeing this? I don't think parodies look like...
Looks like the war already started, and the giant roots are winning.
Marius, vines don't usually get that big this quickly, do they?
Based on their growth and size, I'd say we've been gone 2 or 3 weeks.
For once, I wish I wasn't. Who knows if the garden affected time, or merely our perception of time? Assuming there's even a difference.
It's like how a body fights an infection. The fever gives you strange dreams that feel like an eternity.
Look at this place. It feels like we're still in the dream. And not just us. Those are more your people's ships in the harbor, and steel garrote banners past the barricades. That can't be good.
Even Raingrim is here. Perhaps we'll get to see an Archmage in action.
I think I see Elia as well. What a strange reunion this will be.
The Blessed Wardens are here too. That conflict we've been trying so hard to prevent started without us. Nah, don't be so hard on yourself. The Steel Garrote have been itching for a fight this whole time. This would have happened with or without us.
Before we go, what happened back there with the Dream Scourge and Sapado?
Glad the Dream Scourge is over, but I can't help but think killing a god will have consequences.
I'm sure it wasn't easy. But I think that's for the best, Envoy.
I can't believe Sapadal is gone. For better or worse, the spiritual health of the living lands depended on them. What now?
We took out the Dream Scourge and Sapadal in one fell swoop. Quite impressive, really.
You've saved the soul of the living lands. Now the survivors fight over its bones. We should take a look. See if we can get ahead of whatever storm is brewing down there.
People seem to be gathering west of here. Whatever's happening, let's be a part of it.
Ripple across the living lands.
The envoy. Is that you?
Everything, your people.
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
Did you meet your god there? The one whose marks you bear?
It's too preposterous to believe. How could a plague be ended by speaking with a god?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened? Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen.
Yes, you said that. Are we supposed to just take you at your word?
It was Ludwine who called for the attack. She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after you beat her to the garden.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwine's run through the militia like a whirlwind.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Oh, cheer up. You wouldn't be the first to make that mistake. Might not be the last either, depending on how things go. So long as her passion for Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That'll be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
The Steel Garrote broke through several days ago. As far as we can tell, Central Paradise has been completely overrun. What citizens still live are no doubt in hiding, including many of my people.
You couldn't have known this would happen. Don't take the guilt of the Steel Garrote upon yourself.
Some Paradisans got out, but we expect hundreds have been killed.
Thirdborn still suffers from the Dream Scourge. Though you may have ended the plague, Envoy, many in Shatterscarp still are not themselves. I could bring no more than a handful when we heard.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
There are too few of us to risk an uncoordinated effort.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside.
The siege won't end until Ludwig does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwig in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwig's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwig's vision for the Living Lands. I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room?
Ah, here we go. This is the conversation you meant to force all along.
I understand your frustration, but please, hear me out. Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you, I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel even less. So long as the Wardens can continue our vigil, I'm open to uniting, if you are.
Thirdborn alone couldn't stand against the storm, but the might of all of us, together, we could deter any but the most fearsome adversaries. And that's what cannons are for.
My people rely on the sufferance of those in Paradis for safety. We have no homes of our own anymore. And Paradis will bear the brunt of the Emperor's reprisals, whatever those may be. But if this is what this conclave wants, then Fior will stand beside you.
We deserve our autonomy. even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adiran Empire and leadership. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adiran shelling and speak only the Adiran language. Their roads would be smooth Adiran roads that out-turn the... The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attack. Well, Envoy, be reasonable. This is not a good idea. Give these people an ounce of agency, and there's no telling what they'll do. Wodaka, have mercy on my soul. Well, what will the illustrious leaders of the Living Lands decide?
So this is what I want. I would prefer we keep to ourselves as we have, but if it will take all of us to repel your people, a united Living Lands it is.
Thirdborn can't clean up Shatterscarp alone. I'll take the Emperor's soldiers, and in exchange, a grave room.
My people are dependent on the goodwill of Paradis, and thus, the Empire. I believe a stable colony would be best.
Well, it would seem we are deadlocked. Thankfully, my work is nearly done. And when I am gone, Envoy, Paradis will be yours. So, in the spirit of the times, what say you, Mayor? A united Living Lands it is, then.
We deserve this opportunity. Thank you for believing in us.
Fighting a battle together is easy. I just hope everyone's willing to stick it out when it comes to the politics.
God, they made the right decision for once.
Finally, some sense permeates the proceedings.
On your head be the consequences. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
The Living Lands will never be free until we break the chain around our necks. Ludwine must die her final death.
She better say her goodbye.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One.
Let's get to work then.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
You're more than worth it. Now go. No doubt the Inquisitor grows impatient for the hunt.
Show them that the Living Lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
Gather your forces and secure the eastern gate. From there, take back the main plaza. Gods be with you, Envoy.
Let's take back the city together. Show the Steel Garrote how the Living Lands takes care of its own.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Can't sleep? We're going into battle for the soul of the Living Lands. Your Emperor will not... Indeed. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adirans will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last. All we ask in return is that you do the same for us. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him. I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and time for you to get some rest. In truth, I've been thinking about the Inquisitor, formulating it. A Death Guard clings to their existence by force of will, stubbornness, unfinished business. Ludwig is held together by faith, and that may be her. Faith is the foundation of her reality. Faith in the righteousness of the god. But according to her faith, Zapadal should not exist. A new god independent of hers? Blasphemy. By that logic, you shouldn't exist either. And yet here you are. By staying alive, of course. You are the godlike of a heretical... Can you imagine how much she needs you to die? Her entire worldview depends on it. Who knows? Maybe that uncertainty is enough to... Or maybe not. I'm just the... Whatever happens. Pleasant dreams.
Stop right there.
reputation is well deserved.
Who's there? Hold it.
I'll protect your back. Better on our feet than in the ground.
What are you doing here?
Stop right there! They're coming!
Eager to meet us.
Watch your back!
What was that?
We've got company.
I've got the plaza under.
That'll teach you!
Wodaka demands! Your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig
There
one.
you are.
Fine.
So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? So you say. But you can't kill me in a way that hasn't been tried already.
I can't wait to prove you wrong.
Silence, child. The adults are talking. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand. Don't insult my intelligence or my commitment to the cause. Treaties can be burned. The hands which shook over whatever deal you struck can be lopped off at the wrist. As for you, Sapadal may be gone, but their offspring remains. And I cannot suffer even a remnant to live. Congratulations on being the last of your kind. At least Sapadal cannot trouble us with another godlike. Their lineage ends here. Steel yourself, envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
And this time, we'll finish the job.
You really believe you can kill me? Do it then. Kill me as no one ever has. Hold nothing back. Give it your all and destroy me.
There's no coming back this time. Prepare yourself for the next world.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
You showed such promise, Envoy. What a shame it has finished.
Come on, let's kill her. One last time.
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for, but we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. There is an absence in your thoughts where Sapadal dwelled. Once, the god of the living lands would have flinched at this rare moment of tranquility. Instead, they are one with the silence. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The dream scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the origin of the plague has been destroyed, put out of its misery, and leave it at that. Thanks to you, the living lands has escaped Adiran oppression. The free settlements unite under a common banner and begin the fraught process of negotiating new traditions and values. The Empire withdraws. The frontier remains wild, but not for long. Fugitives no more. The rebels of Paradis return to their home and to other free settlements, bringing their skills and secrets wherever needed. For once, they have a future. The refugees of Emerald Stair find a cold welcome in the city of Paradis. Animancy is frowned upon, but their knowledge of agriculture is highly valued. The first bountiful harvest improves relations. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. Though free, Shatterscarp is still haunted by the surviving dream thralls after the destruction of Naku Kubel. The routine hunt for the remaining monsters becomes part of Thirdborn's everyday life, another chore atop a hardscrabble existence with few comforts. The youthful make a game of the hunt, retrieving artifacts from the dead to return to those they left behind. Solace Keep clings to its long-held isolation at first, but after mourning her friend Kostya, Mihala reluctantly deigns to open the doors of the fortress. Some dwarves greet newcomers with glee. Others still mutter darkly about outsiders. Mihala flounders in her earliest negotiations with the rest of the living lands, but slowly learns compromise. She develops a taste for Valian sweets. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. With his travels alongside the envoy complete, Marius is left directionless once again. Rather than disappearing into his cups, however, Marius leans on his time among his companions to give him the strength to re-enter society and find comfort in civilization.
He establishes a route between Paradise and Thirdborn, guiding travelers between the two in return for money and supplies. And while he has a reputation for being aloof, he joins the campfires from time to time, sharing stories of his time with the envoy that most travelers believe are completely made up. Giada continues to improve as an animancer. She dedicates her work to the spiritual health of the living lands, nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Mes Iverno lives on in her. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yardsley returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Mes Iverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Alone in your thoughts, you feel endless opportunities stretching out before you. This is the freedom Sapadal never had. You promise to cherish it. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.